Welcome, everybody, to Generation Dan. It is episode number 200, which is a monument, an accomplishment. It is the 200th episode. I am so happy. I'm Atlas Novack. I'm your millennial. Who else is here with me?
I am Dino the Genetic Marvel. I have been here for all 200 episodes, I believe. I think we're very close. We haven't missed too many. We usually 200 days of queerism. Thank you, Cole.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hello, Victoria.
Yeah, so for our 200th episode, originally we were going to have Alma Marfo, who rescheduled. She'll be in a few weeks. But instead, we decided to do like a mailbag. So for the wacky people in the comments, if you have any questions about us, about the show that you've always wanted to ask, today would be the time to do them. We had this posted. What?
Well, I have only 2 questions have come up that are valid. The one was from our old co-host, Mr. Cole Clayton, which was, what generation are D's nuts from?
Helpful.
And I'm like, I'm including that. Another history, and you can watch one episode every day for a year. I mean, that is true.
Yeah. I think if we don't have enough questions to make it through the episode, I think we're just going to talk a little bit about our history and why this show has gone on this long.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that is only fair. That was, I mean, I have a question. Go. Say your question, you dirty slut. Yesterday I was cooking, so just because our situations have changed and everything. So now I have access to the kitchen freely, and I've started cooking on hammered and cheese, which has been an interesting adjustment. Yeah.
So you've stopped talking shit and you've started in the ring.
Well, the first time I did it, I definitely stopped talking shit, because then Cole gave me shit, and he's like, "How come you can't see? You give me shit for not saying stuff, and you're not saying shit." And I was like, you know what? That's a good point. So. Why is there a crown next to my name with a number 1? It recognizes your
commenting. Like if you comment,
hoary potential. Let's call it your hoary potential. You're king of the whores. There you go. That's hello, Epic Day. It's a weird time to come in here.
So yeah, ask us any question. Something. Try and keep it civil and don't use any racial slurs. I can't believe I have to say that.
I mean, they're still going to use it. Oh my God, Atlas, you got to watch. Dino is so out of his element, and I love it. Yeah, that's fair. That is.
I'll hop in on Hammered and Cheese like in the audience every now and again when I have the time to. But yeah, I definitely got to look at Hammered and Cheese 2.0. Should be a fun time. So what was what's it called? The first question again.
So then Victoria added a question: is at what age? And I think this is good because we're going to have a very different perspective. We are celebrating our 200th episode, Epics Day, and so you can ask us anything, and we will answer. Hello, Danner. So Victoria's. Actually, you know what? Let me do that right now. Here,
episode number 200, mailbag. So if you got any questions for me, for Dino, about the show, ask us anything. I guess we'll talk about the history of the show.
Ask us anything.
It's been blocked by the little counter on my end.
Mine too.
Yeah.
So So Victoria's question. Tanner is number 2. Sucks not to be the goat. Was at what age do you think people should be allowed to use electronic devices? And I think that's a really good question.
Okay, since Victoria is in the audience, I have a clarifying question, which is, what is the line for an electronic device? So for an example, does a microwave count as an electronic device, or are we talking about something that involves media? So like a computer, YouTube, that sort of thing.
I think she
That's
was
my
referring to
guess.
media. So when
Okay,
we were
right.
on vacation, we met up with one of Victoria's childhood friends, and he's married. He has 3 kids, and they moved from the UK. So Victoria and this guy, they grew up in the UK. We actually went to his wedding. Victoria played the violin at his wedding. It was very, very beautiful. They had it in
Wow.
Priory. It was an awesome wedding. And then we slept at the Priory the night of, like after the wedding, and
Mhm.
everything was like according to the times. So my feet like stuck out of the bed. I'm like, this is
That was like the beds in Japan where Katie's like, "Oh, I'm so comfy because I'm 5'1", and then like my ankles
Mhm.
are over the
Exactly,
side," and you're just like, "Ugh,
exactly.
whatever."
Uh,
Yeah.
answer a
Okay, so
question with another
so
question.
with
Atlas may have taken mail.
well, part of it is like it's supposed to be like a discussion. And I saw Victoria's answer: cell phone, iPod, computer, TV. Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, do you want to go first or
So
me?
that
Yeah.
family, the Victoria's childhood friend, the father, was very rambunctious as a youth, and he is still
Okay.
quite. He's got a lot of nervous energy, but he has like gray temples a little bit, and you're like he's started to calm down. But his son, extremely rambunctious. So he's got 2 daughters and a son, and they, while they would watch TV, which I'm I don't know if that gets mixed into it, but they did
Mhm.
not use an iPad, and they had a little more of an active lifestyle doing things like drawing and stuff like that. So like it kind of, we started discussing it was at what age should people be using media personally? So I'm like, I don't think like having a family computer where, oh, you need research for school and stuff like that, that's it, no problem. But an iPad, cell phone, where it's like I'm doing this privately and no one can know what I'm doing, is something I think that should be significantly later in life, just for uh development and mental health. It's but
Yeah.
I don't know,
Mm.
like
So
it's tough because you're going to be ostracized as a youth if you don't have that to a certain degree, and then at the other
what's
time it's like who
interesting?
cares.
So I do like a media literacy unit with my seniors every year.
Yeah.
Um, and one question I like to ask them is, would you raise your kids with technology the same way you were raised? And like almost all of them answer an emphatic fuck no. Like
Right.
the freedom that
Yeah.
like here's an iPad, figure your shit out. They're like they're recognizing that that wasn't healthy. I'm recognizing as a millennial that that wasn't an okay thing to be like, here's the whole internet, good
Yeah.
luck, right?
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't as, uh, like, it was freer back then because we didn't really know what the internet was,
Correct.
um, at the time. So we were just like, "Hey, here, lemonparty.org," or whatever the thing you know, like millennials in the comments, you know what I'm talking about, but, like
Meatspins.com, and you're like,
yep,
what is, oh,
mhm.
meatspins, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So, to answer like Victoria's question, I think I would not do it the same way
Yeah.
that I was raised. I think for a cell phone, you get a dumb phone. So, phone or calls and texts, that's it
Yeah.
when you start in sports. So, like, mom, I'm at the soccer field, come pick me up. Like, that's
Yes.
all you can do with it. You can
Hmm.
text your friends on it, but like, no Instagram, no TikTok, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. I
I
think with TV, uh, like I like to say that I won't, but realistically, you're probably going to put on Daniel Tiger or Bluey or Miss Rachel when they're little, so you can like do the goddamn dishes or whatever. Um,
I so yeah, like this is the thing, is because like, so I'm not sure about you, but I was
mhm,
raised on TV. And
same.
the weird thing was we only had one TV. So it was
Okay.
kind of like, if you wanted to watch something, pray that everyone wanted to watch it. Otherwise, you're screwed. Um, so it was a weird thing, but like
Yeah.
the fact that people still put their kids in front of the TV, you're like, yes. Like I remember hearing from some parents where they're like, oh, if you don't put they had like borderline Rain Man Judge Wapner type situations, where it's like if you didn't put them in front of their cartoons, they lost their shit.
Yeah. I
Dino
think
definitely watched Leave It to Beaver.
well, okay,
You know
so
what?
like
Not by choice. I'll tell you that. Not
yeah.
by choice, sir.
What's interesting is like I had a bit of a like clash of the titans where my dad was very much into technology. If you want
Mm.
to find out more about my dad, watch the Aspen Chronicles episodes, which are in our YouTube channel as a playlist. Where he was very much like on the cutting edge of like I want to try new shit. So like
Yeah.
he was into um like oh he got like TiVo and stuff very early.
Yeah.
And then my mom threw out her TV in the 70s during Watergate and then just never went back. So
Yeah.
you had two parents who were just like, I like tech. I just didn't.
I'm a
Um,
Luddite and I hate it.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
Well,
that's
it
fair.
wasn't even a Luddite sort of thing. She wasn't like, I am actively against this because I think it's bad for everybody. She's just like, this is too much for me. I'm just not gonna.
Which,
Um,
like, so, and this is the
yeah.
thing is that including, I don't know if you've seen these videos of like little kids helping cooking and stuff, and it's a debacle
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Of
To the
course.
point where the one kid's like trying to eat flour, and you're like, don't do that. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
What's the big deal, right? So it was like there are positives and negatives, but like I'm not sure if you've realized this educating youth, but like a lot of times people just want to be treated as adults. Like they want to be
Mhm.
included in things. And it's like
Of course.
the
Yeah.
idea of like, oh, I need to do the dishes, so I'm gonna put you in front of the TV. No, 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 you're gonna come help me do the dishes. Like it is significantly harder, but let's be honest, you're training a monkey. So it's gonna
But
be,
eventually
you know,
they'll be able to do it themselves, right? Like
right.
it's a long-term investment.
Like in the same way you were permitted to do some cooking, I was given access to the microwave and the toaster oven. I was not allowed to touch the stove, right? I was able to help start a fire in the fireplace though, which, seems much more dangerous, but
Okay, that's better than starting a fire in the bathroom.
uh, also true.
Which
Well,
isn't you, that
I
was
was
your
the
brother, but
youngest, they loved me
yeah.
more, so
Okay. So,
TV
like,
was my babysitter. Yeah,
to
so get me away from the
to go
pools,
all
kid.
the way back to the question, I don't think I would do it the same way.
Yeah,
Um, and also iPad wasn't really a problem for my generation, so it's just something I'm gonna have to consider.
yeah,
But I think I would try and um, like try and build a base of like you can exist without tech, and then you can start building on top of that. Because I'm a teacher right now. LAUSD is like, here's how to use AI in the classroom, and a bunch of us are like, "Fuck you," and
yeah,
um, it got to the point where like so we had staff professional development, which is you go in for 6 hours, they show you a bunch of slides, and you get paid for it.
yeah,
Um, and then afterward, they're like Zoom seminars. You go in and you get paid for it. Uh, and they give you like a choice of stuff to look up. So I looked up. It says critical media literacy. And I was like,
mhm,
oh, I can add more to that media literacy in it. I
nope.
go in and it was like, nope, fucking how to use AI in the classroom. I'm like, this is a timeshare presentation of a seminar. I'm out. And then I went into the poetry one because like I hate poetry, and but it's like for a very petty reason. But like
Yeah,
I hate poetry. I would rather be in there than in the AI one. So
I yeah.
yeah,
So Cole says something is Jack can use the air fryer, not the stove or oven. That's reasonable because an air fryer you
yeah,
can't really burn the house down, right? And that was the same principle with
yeah,
like
because
the toaster
it's a
oven.
convection oven.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So, but it's also like it's a contained thing. If you burn something, you burn what's in it. It's not going to burst into flames, right? So
yeah.
that's why a toaster oven is like, can really, we're giving California children access to Ultron. That's accurate.
But like a lot of teachers are moving away from using tech completely in the classroom, and like we're
Yes.
going back to pen and paper. But
Yes.
that might be a good thing in the long term because it's like you can write a goddamn complete sentence.
So
Like
this is something that I've been just trying to navigate myself for quite some time is that education is weird in that because knowledge is theoretically becoming broader and we're understanding
mhm,
things to a further degree, Um, people are starting, not at the beginning. Does that make sense? So it's like, so people are starting at a position where they don't know how to do the things previous to. So think about it this
Yeah.
way. If you know how to, what is a complete thing? Yeah. So it's the whole idea where it's like, so like in math, okay. In grade 11, one of the big components was, maybe grade 10. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. So was learning how to get to the quadratic function. Okay.
Okay.
But once you
Because
had the
once you
quadratic,
got there, it was easier to
well, once you
to
got there,
do
then
it.
you could
Yeah.
take information and plug it into the quadratic function. But
Yeah.
unless you learned how to get to the quadratic function, then you didn't really understand how it all worked. And that was the problem, right? So, in the same sense, you have people who are giving access to AI, but don't know how linguistics work, how
Yes.
communication works, and stuff like that. So, it's like
Mhm.
we're starting too far, right? So,
Yeah.
like a perfect example is that understanding that TV, like so one of the teachers in my high school was very enamored with Noam Chomsky, and this drove me to
Okay.
hate Noam Chomsky because his
Understandable.
idea
Yeah.
his idea that the media is the message is ridiculous, because no, media is what is the delivery system. It is not the actual message. What is the message is what is being produced. Like it anyways, I don't like him. I don't like him. He's a
Yeah,
weird
no, I
person.
understandable. Like you can have the most like if you didn't like a teacher and the teacher was really into a thing, guess what? You hate that thing now.
D- yeah,
Like
I hated that
I
teacher too.
I have the dumbest reason. Like I refused to teach 1984 as
Yeah.
a book, and the reason for this was I read it in 10th grade, and then I went to a new school and I read it in 11th grade. And then I went to college and I read it in college. Fuck 1984. I'm not
Yeah, it's fair.
touching 1984. I
That is
got
fair.
the message. I understand what it's for as a book.
Yeah.
I love teaching dystopias. I'm not doing 1984 ever
That
again.
is,
I've read it
well,
enough
like
times.
there are alternatives. So it's fine.
Of
You
course.
could do Brave New World. You could do
That's
even
what I'm
Lord of the
doing with
Flies.
my
You could,
10th graders this
yeah.
year.
So
So
it's like
I'm
that's totally reasonable. So in the same sense though, it's like, but if children understand that, hey, this was originally intended for communication, but it has also changed over years to be also how people form opinions. So understanding what you're receiving, like
yeah.
like I've stayed away from the news for the last like year and a half, and I have never been happier. I'll be honest with you. But when I do want to look at the news, I actually go on YouTube, and there is a one channel, and it's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, a old, craggly looking woman, who's very talented and delivers facts and nothing else. Just fact. This happened. This happened. This happened. And it reminds me of how the news used to be. So when I was young, so in the 80s, early 90s
Very
was
very Cronkite-esque. Yeah.
very, Dan
Yeah.
Rather, these here we had Lloyd Robertson. And you know what? It was no, isn't. I want my news delivered boring,
Mhm.
monotone, and informative. No opinion. Absolutely zero opinion, because that's my job. That's that I'm the one who makes an opinion, not you, right? You telling me what my opinion is absolutely ridiculous. So
Yeah.
you create this system where it's like, if you understand that, right, then you can be better prepared
For
for,
misinformation. Yeah.
well,
For
not even
disinformation.
misinformation, but hey, the person who's giving you this stuff on TV doesn't necessarily have your best interests in mind. They have their best interests. Now those may align, but you need to
Yeah.
understand those two things because they're very separate.
It's like
Right?
the thing where it's, walk before you can run. And like we were like talking about this during the staff PD. I'm currently reading this book that's like why do we read fairy tales like as a culture? Um and it was talking about how like the characters in fairy tales are very black and white. There's the good guy, there's the bad guy, right? The good
Racist,
guy
but okay.
always wins in the end, blah 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 blah. And
Right.
like the reason for that is to teach kids morality. but also like to lay that base so that they can then tackle more morally gray characters in the future. And like that's why it's important to read to your kids and why it's important to like teach them to grasp a pen
Yes.
so that they can write before they have to type things, you know?
You want to hear
Uh,
something wild? I knew a guy in high school, and he was arguably one of the smartest guys, but the least like very like not autistic, but very introverted. And he would hold a pen with all four fingers like this. So like
that's
his
literally
pinky
how I hold a pen.
is
Not
like
not at
this.
the pinky, it's like here.
So
It's like doing the Italian thing. That's how I hold
yeah.
a pen. But the
So
reason for that
tell me.
is that the little pencil grip thing that would like fix the way you hold a pen, I could just hold around it. Nothing ever got fixed. So I have like fucking awful handwriting, but it's fast. My cousin here. This is how my cousin holds it, like this over the top.
What?
Uh,
That's a
she
murder.
has really good handwriting though. I think the reason is that she's left-handed, but she writes
Oh,
right-handed. So I think she went to a school where they were like, "Nope,
yeah.
getting left-handed," and then that was her
That's
adaptation.
that's the work of the devil. That's totally fair. Yeah. That's I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason why it's called right.
So like
But yeah.
that's how I hold it.
Yeah,
That
that's to
yeah,
me, that is absolutely
yeah.
bonkers.
Closer to my middle finger than
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
yeah.
would, and you would see like his fingers, he would push to the point where like you would see like red and white marks in
Okay,
his, and I'm like,
not like that.
why are you so aggressive with the pen? He's like, what? And I'm like, is your hand okay? He's like, it
It
usually
was
hurts
really
when I
good
read it.
for
I'm like, yeah.
cursive. Like when I was learning cursive, you could like fly with that thing. It was helpful, but
I
yeah,
remember
weirdly
watching.
enough, when I write on a whiteboard, I'll hold it the correct way. Um,
Interesting. Huh.
yeah, maybe when the pen
I
is
feel like,
fatter like that, and
well,
like
I feel like too, it's even an arm position thing where like
maybe.
there are like it's very different, but like that's
Mhm.
it's one of those things where I'm very much an advocate that like so a perfect example is while we didn't you get a pencil mold? I saw some kids had used it for better
Yeah,
positioning.
so I would get a pencil mold. Shout out to my first grade teacher, Miss Mansfield, who is my friend on Facebook, and there is a non-zero chance she watches this show. Hi, Miss Mansfield. Um, so she would like put those on the pencil, and then I would just hold around it. Like nothing ever got fixed. It was like, oh, here's a
Yeah,
slight obstacle
yeah.
to continuing to do what I was going to do anyway.
I feel like that's Chris Pratt's character in Community where they're trying to figure out how to secure the water fountain
Yeah,
and they put a thing on it and he's just like and puts his whole
yeah,
mouth on it. Like, yeah, this is basically the same thing. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much
It's
what.
just like, no, just go work around it. And you're like, that's not helpful. But yeah, so like this is the thing is that like so Victoria had tons of activities as growing up, right? She
Yeah.
had violin, other instruments and stuff like that. I did take classes for piano, but the bigger thing was I had Greek school, which was at nighttime.
Oh,
And then like
how many days a week?
2 nights a
2
week.
days a week. Okay.
Yeah, it was Thursdays and Friday or Tuesdays and Thursdays. And while I hated it to no end, it was the
Yeah.
smartest thing my father did for us.
Mm.
But like that was the thing
Is
is that
that
yeah.
the modern Greek language, or was it
Yeah. Yeah.
like
So
okay.
I was actually talking about this last night was how my dad was taught ancient Greek in school. Like so they spoke common Greek like of
Mhm.
now, but they were taught ancient Greek. Ancient Greek was taught up until the 80s in schools. Like
Wow.
so people and that's why like there are like when I in a show when people talk horribly in ancient Greek and I'm like I can understand parts of it and I'm like I got to think on it because my Greek is more conversational than
Mhm.
uh uh
S
very in depth
my
but yeah.
my very hippie, middle and first half of high school, they would make you take Latin in middle school,
Yeah.
and then when you got to high school, you could pick, so you could keep going with Latin, or you could do Spanish, French, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I had just stayed with Latin because I liked my teacher, and he
Yeah.
taught middle and high school. But I did not realize how helpful that
Yep.
was.
Yep.
Because like I can't remember speaking in Latin at all, but
Yeah.
I can remember the root words that make it so that I can kind of sort of understand Spanish and I can kind of sort of understand
Yeah.
French and maybe Portuguese and Italian because they all come
Yeah.
from Latin, but also like just where words come from in English, like
Mm.
that's you know,
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
someone's like, "What is lycanthropy?" Wolfman, done. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah,
That is more Greek, my friend. Lycos is a wolf.
yeah.
But that's the thing is like knowing Greek, even just conversationally, made that big of a difference where you understood language a lot more than other stuff. And but then the rest of the time was focused on religious studies. So it's like while everyone else had
Oh,
like sports and stuff like that, I'm like, I was studying the Bible. So that was way more intense. And
well,
but also
while you got into sports, I studied the blade.
yeah.
Okay,
So yeah. So it
yeah,
was the weird thing was like I like I've told you this before. I spoke in front of 1,000 people when I was 12 years old. No
right,
problem. And people are like, aren't you nervous? And I'm like,
yeah,
why?
yeah.
I'm like, number one, I'm better than most of these people at speaking, so I don't really care. But it was like that was the focus where I'm like, I personally probably would have done better by being thrown into a boarding school and fought for my life. That would have been better for my growth, but like, whatever.
Mhm.
In the end, like I those skills have never left me and I am constantly refining them because you fall into things like word whiskers and you're going and you sound like an idiot, right? So you constantly have to evolve and be better. But I'm like the majority of my youth was spent in that way. And then like as I would get older, like I started watching cartoons and stuff like that. And I'm like, honestly, I got a better understanding of vocabulary from reading the Bible and comic books because comic books have weird shit in them constantly, right? But
Yeah. The I just got the like little get to know you survey from my vice principal at
oh,
my new school,
sounds horrible.
and she was like, "Yeah, do you want to fill that out?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. Put it up on
Sure.
the website." But like, I said at my old school, instead of that, what we had to do was at PD because you do those every week, but they're
Hmm.
little, they're like 45 minutes. Um, y- like over the course of the year, they would have a teacher come up and talk about themselves, like with a slideshow. And she says, "That sounds like absolute hell." I'm like, it's kind of not to me. Like, public speaking isn't really a problem. Also, we're teachers, isn't that the
Kind of the whole thing, right? Like,
thing? Yeah,
yeah.
but I also understand where it's like, yeah, you don't really want to like
Yeah.
tell them about yourself. Ew.
Thank you, Joey. We appreciate you,
Yeah.
brother.
So, thank you, Joey.
Yeah.
So, like, shout out to my
Yeah.
vice principal for being like, "Here's a very discreet survey you can do at home," and
I
then not
yeah.
having to do a presentation. It didn't really bother me all that much, but for some of the other teachers, they were just like, "I don't want to talk about myself," and I was like, I agree with you."
That's you know what? That's a good question. How so okay. I'm very clear on the fact that every time you move, start a new job, meet a new person, you have the ability to reinvent yourself. Okay. I have consistently failed at this my entire life. I am me, can't be anything else. I've tried, never works. At the same time, like being a teacher where you're like, there's a distinct divide between who you are as a teacher versus who you are as a person. And to be honest, I never liked the idea of that because I'm like, you should be an educator. That should be your whole deal. And it's not, right? Most often guy at the top looks like you has clapped plenty of big I mean, not really, Miss Bunny, but hey, have you ever tried eating corn the long way? No, that's for weirdos.
No,
Um,
I'm pretty sure that Chris Pratt has
yeah, there you go.
on Parks and Rec. No, I haven't.
No. So, but like
These are fun
that's the thing.
questions.
Like how do you like do you share with other teachers because I'll be honest with you, my experience has been that teachers love gossip. And it is not limited to students.
Mhm.
So, like, do you want to share?
Trying I'm trying to get the lay of the land still. I've only
Right.
been with these people for 2 days. Um, and even then, most of the time, was them being like, all right, here's some new strategies in the classroom. So like, I didn't really get to talk to them for an extended period of time, but they're all very nice people from what I can see.
Sure.
And like,
Also, great liars. That's
yeah, so it's the sort of thing where like, who knows how many people, are being super nice to my face and then like talking shit about me behind my back.
yeah,
The good thing is this is such a large school
yeah,
that like if they do, like who
yeah,
cares?
yeah,
Compare that to my old school, which was tiny. So if there was some sort of, rivalry between two teachers, it got around fairly quickly.
yeah,
Um, like where you had this like somebody from admin who was very uh boisterous, to put it
yeah.
lightly. Very, very like had to have fingers in all the pies. And then one of the math teachers who's like an old head, he's been doing this since the 80s, and
Yeah.
he's like, I think 2 years from retirement at the time of saying this. They did not like each other very much, and it was very apparent. And the math teacher was super tight with the vice principal because he had taught the vice principal when she was a kid.
Jesus Christ. That's
So
power you cannot buy. That
yeah,
is, yeah.
so it was like soft power, right? So
Mm,
he could kind of go toe to toe with the other admin person,
yeah.
um, with the implication that I have the vice principal on my side. Come at me, bro, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like you learn all of these things from the other people where I'm just like, I could feel the tension
Yeah. Yeah.
during
Yeah.
those two talking. What's the deal with that? And they're like, oh, didn't you hear? Blah 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 blah.
Of
Right?
course.
Um, Compare that to my new school where it's like, I don't know shit.
Yeah.
So we'll find out, right? Um,
Well, like, and that's the thing is like, there's a certain element to being in a bigger pond in
mhm,
that you can kind of go through your existence not worrying, not seeing other people, not worrying about other people because you're like, "Eh, I'm just doing my own thing,"
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
that's what they told me that like regards to curriculum and all that stuff, like they trust you to do your thing. Um, which is cool. I think this is good for somebody who is now a third year teacher where like I have 2 years of experience. I feel like if
yeah.
I had been dropped in there as a little baby covered in placenta first year teacher, this would have gone very poorly for me. Um, that's what I always like to say. Like, just
Yeah.
you show up, oh dear God, I have to teach people. Fuck. you know,
Yeah. It's
You're not
yeah, no,
interesting. Bald guy is struggling to act interested. Yeah, we're
that's
both
not.
bald guys. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's
Um,
just my face. It's just how it is. I'm just not interested in everything. That isn't a personal attack. It's just scientific fact. My wife calls it a murder face because I look like this normally. So, yeah,
True.
that's
Very
fair.
true. Very
Yeah, I know. Like, and I remember when I was much bigger, I would tell people, I'm like, listen, this is the problem. If I walked into a dark alley and saw myself, I'd piss my own pants. And I'm like, that, even though I've lost 200 plus pounds, still accurate because I have turned corners and people are just like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, nope, just a person. It's fine. Everything's cool. No murderer. Just my face. If you think this is fun, wait until you the swimsuit try on. Oh,
The amount of
oh,
hair alone,
yeah.
you
That's
know.
I mean, listen, that's yeah. Why you
Okay.
both so funny though? I mean, we're trying.
I mean,
We're trying.
again, mailbag episode. If you guys want to know things about us,
Yeah.
please
Hit us
drop
up
them in the
by
comments
all
below.
means. We appreciate the contribution. Um, but yeah, no, and that's why I'm like, I like being in that. I'd like to see both of you, your dishwashers immediately, please. Mine is filled with dishes because my wife is Asian, so we don't use the dishwasher. I use these to
Oh,
wash dishes.
oh,
Uh,
I just emptied mine yesterday, I think. So,
have
um,
you heard the example of the most efficient way to do dishes and store dishes is to have two dishwashers?
no, I didn't.
Yeah. So essentially, you have two dishwashers, one
Yeah,
with clean and one with dirty, and they keep on going back and forth. And essentially,
that's
that's where
cool.
you store all your dishes. And then it's like once they're dirty, you go to the other one, and once they in back and forth. And you're like, there's no need for all the cupboards that you have in your kitchen is completely ridiculous. You just store them in the dishwasher and then wash them, and then move them over to the clean. Like it's that simple. And you're like, oh my god, that actually makes sense. And it is just painful to realize how simple it could be. At Dino's peak weight, Was he ever embarrassed to buy swimming trunks? No. So I number one carry my weight very well. So even now, like where I've packed on a shit ton of weight from vacation. So I'm like around 3 bills. And like right now I'm actively dropping, but I carry it well. So I'm like I just have a big long. I don't have rolls. I have one giant roll
Yeah.
of belly,
For
and now I'm like,
for people who wanted like a real life example of this, when I saw him at my wedding, because he is apple shaped, which is like important for this to work, right? In the suit, he kind of looked like a power lifter, where it was
yeah,
just sort of one
yeah,
shape, like no tits, no, just
no.
carried it very well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I've been blessed with that. I use the joke that I've even at 500 plus pounds, I didn't have any titties, and now that I've lost 250 some odd pounds, still no titties, which is great. Because I'll tell you, there's nothing better than walking up to a thin person and giving me a little tit flick. They hate it. They hate it a lot, and it is very entertaining for someone like me who is fat. But yeah, so I was never no, I've never been embarrassed about how I look. Just because I'm like, I'm fat, not ugly. I don't really care.
Mhm.
And even now, people are like, "Oh, are you embarrassed about losing your hair?" I'm like, "No, it's hair. If you're hung up about my hair loss, you have bigger issues." That's
Right.
But yeah, I want a freaking dishwasher so bad, but Kim don't want it. I mean, just buy it. Just buy it and be like, here. And actually, you know what? The key is not only to have the dishwasher, because you can have a freestanding dishwasher, but also have it to it so it adds to your counter space. So if you have a butcher
Oh,
block on top, people are like,
nice.
oh, I get a dishwasher and extra counter space. You're like, oh, that's different. Because extra counter space, now that I'm doing the majority of the cooking in the house, I'm telling you, I'm like, ooh, more counter space is that is a priority for me. Yeah. It's one of those things. I feel like I've do you mind doing the dishes? Do you guys use your dishwasher?
So at our old apartment, we didn't have a dishwasher. At our new
Mm.
one, we do.
Ooh.
I was in charge of the dishes in both cases, and like I don't mind in either case. Like Katie hated doing that, and she hated doing the laundry, and I hate cooking, so works out pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's one of those things where dishes look more intimidating than they really are. Where it's like I got this huge pile of dishes, and then you take one pan out, and it's like a third of the size.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you just clean the one pan, and then it's like 4 plates and, the
See,
silverware.
I don't mind doing laundry and then folding it just because I'm like I find it very calming
That's
because it's
about it.
just
It's
like I can
meditative.
zone out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much. And dishes the same way. Uh
Brush
Cooking.
or comb, rough side of a sponge, mostly. In the
Hmm,
I guess that would count as a brush because it would just be the rough side of a sponge on a stick, right?
that is
Um,
also true.
yeah,
I
so,
mean,
like, I
yeah.
would I would do it that way, and then in this case, it's like give it a once over and then stick it in the dishwasher.
Yeah,
Works
yeah,
out great. Love our dishwasher. If you are a
yeah,
stoner doing the dishes, it is amazing. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I find that there's a very calming component of doing things like folding laundry and doing dishes. And
have one
also
earphone
to
in, listening to a podcast or something. It's great.
sometimes I'll just have YouTube going like because I really enjoy listening to like fantasy stories. Like one that I watched a little while ago was we're assassins hired by the Vatican and we found the Messiah's tomb. And you're like, ah, and it says it'll be like an hour long and it's completely all fiction stuff, but like other ones is like we went to the dark side of the moon and what we found will will change everything. And you're like, great, you know. And then like I like listening to those because they also will include like really riveting artwork behind it as it's playing, and I'm like, well, this is fun. And then I'm just folding laundry and
Yeah.
but
I have a similar, feeling when, like, grocery shopping, when you don't have to be somewhere, where it's just
yeah,
like, you need these things at some point. So, like, you
yeah.
go in the Ralphs and same thing, have one earphone in with the cart, you're rolling around and, like, because they shuffle the grocery store so much, you never know where exactly to go immediately.
Mm.
Um, So
Also
you're
true.
just like, all right, it's in this general area. The produce is on this side of the store, that sort of thing. Um, but you do that, and then you just kind of like get your stuff,
Yeah.
and then go pay for it. And again, like when it's not really a time crunch, grocery shopping is very meditative. For Katie, she's an Instacart person, um,
Yeah.
so you know, when she shops, she just does it that way. But she always complains if she gets a boy for an Instacart shopper because like there's a meme about this where it's like
Yes.
I can't find uh the tampons and it had a moon on it, moon cakes replace option, and she's like, no, you idiot. Like so that's the if
I mean,
Atlas
that's
was
fair. I get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
If Atlas was to throw a dildo on the court at a WNBA game, what color would he pick? Also where would he get it? Same question for Dino. Joey, I hate you. I
I
think
would, hey,
just
red,
no to
white,
that
and blue
question.
American flag dildo, and I would buy it at probably my convenience store. One of those convenience stores that sells hookahs as well. They'd have it for sure.
I think it would be funnier to get like a big purple one. But
Purple one was last night,
oh,
and
okay,
hilariously, the
messed up.
wagers for what color dildo was going to be thrown on the court were
Oh my god, it's
actually
on the sports book.
hey
Seriously?
hey they were the wagers were higher like activity wise than they were for the result of the actual games. So,
I think it would be funny if like people went the other way and did flashlights on the NBA
well,
game.
we had that discussion on Monday or Wednesday where we were talking about it, where it's like, number one, that is horrible, but also
Yes.
like if you threw, because the equivalent for the NBA would be throwing like the meaty part of a fleshlight at a basketball player, and I'm like, there would be violence immediately, which I find hilarious. Because also, can you imagine someone's doing like Shaq's doing a free throw, and he's
Mhm.
like, and then just like wow with the meaty
Yeah.
part of a fleshlight, you're like,
Although
I
he's
mean,
so bad at free throws, maybe that like it's a negative times a negative is a positive and he lands it or something.
it's worth experimenting with. I mean, Purple one with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Yeah, but that's, I mean, this is the weird thing is that like people doing heinous shit, I always find it entertaining. I don't find it entertaining when it's at someone else's job. If you're doing wild shit in the like, well, if you're doing crazy shit in the wild, have at it, right? But if you're doing it at the expense of somebody who's trying to just do their job, so similarly, if you freak out on a waiter or host at a restaurant, you're a bad
Mhm.
person, right? If you freak out at a cyclist who's on a major road, completely fair. They deserve it. They're horrible people. They're the worst. They should be riding their bikes out away from the road, but they don't because they think they're cars, but they don't follow rules of the cars. That's ridiculous to me. Um, by the way, have you decided if you're going to get one of those electric scooter thingies? Because you were saying that
Oh,
it's like,
an e-bike? I
yeah,
think it like once I have the money to, like
mm,
probably around December, maybe. I'm not sure
mm,
how Christmas is gonna go because last year our Christmas was subsidized by the trip to Japan.
yeah,
Um, so this year it might be a little different. I also have more salary points than last year. Uh, LAUSD has like this big chart, and then you're supposed to like you want to be at the bottom right, and you
okay,
start at the top left. So like as you keep working and as you like take classes and stuff, or if you get a master's or a PhD, it moves you down.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you want to be in the bottom right. So like
Oh, so
another year, another yeah,
education versus years of service, and you kind of
yes,
try and mitigate to get to the top
yeah.
square. I
Yeah,
mean,
but if you wait too long, you can't move down. So, like, you wanna
oh,
get those the education, like, sooner if possible.
so
Uh,
you can't be 20 years in and be like, I'm going to get my master's and then
yeah,
plummet. You have to
yeah,
do the staircase. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's fair.
So,
I understand that.
but, like, another year, another few salary points, therefore, blah, blah, blah. So,
Fair enough.
um, the that is more pay, which means I can afford slightly more. Um, but,
I'm
yeah,
just telling you is you have to get a helmet with
yep.
flames, and then your e-bike has to have flames. They could be any color, Any color you want, but it's important that you kind of throw
I
down.
wanted
You're
to
like,
be
hey,
as discreet as possible because the school's bike rack, while within the bounds of the school, is within the bounds of the school. And if a teacher has any, but vandalism abound. I feel like
have you?
if it's
Okay, just an
discreet.
FYI, Honda makes a briefcase cycle that is
Oh,
electric.
oh,
It's $1,000.
oh,
And
maybe
hold on, I'm gonna see if it's available. And it
send
should
me
be.
a link
I will.
because if that is the case, I can literally just put it in briefcase form and take it up to my room, which would be great.
Yeah,
Um, that'd be awesome.
it is called the Moto Compacto.
Okay.
And yeah, I will
I'm
send
on
you a
the
link.
second floor this time, whereas before I was on the first floor. So like stairs are a thing. I can't do the thing where like you take the bike and like roll it up the stairs and into the room. That's
No, this literally compacts like, and it's
very cool.
tiny. Yeah.
Mm. I need to get like uh so it is of the understanding that you are not supposed to have a fridge in your room,
It's
right?
horrible. You have a
And
hot plate?
I need I need
Exactly.
a tablecloth for tablecloth reasons. And yeah, I need to get that before Tuesday because Tuesday and Wednesday are non-pupil days, but you can still go in and like set up your room
Mm.
and stuff, which is cool. And I want to go do that. So um
Mm.
Jetsons and shit. Yeah.
Here it is, right here. Yeah.
Okay. Can you
Yeah.
send me the
I'm gonna
link
send
for
you a
that?
link. Don't worry. Yeah.
I feel like I can swing $1,000 for sure. But yeah, an e-bike is like
Yes.
perfect because I live 2 miles from the school. There's okay-ish bike infrastructure on the road to there.
So
Um
yeah, like the weight is 50 pounds. So you can
oh
literally
yeah.
walk upstairs. Like this is not, yeah.
Yeah, I can swing that for sure.
Yeah.
Um be awesome. And Honda is like pretty solid uh engineering.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
I I wanted to like as we near the hour,
yes.
because it the reason if people are like, why did the episode from last week show up on a Saturday? It took literally a day for an hour and a half episode to compile versus like a few hours. Um, so I'm trying to keep the episodes close to an hour as possible.
Yeah.
Also, because do you really want to hear people reading articles about the Gen Z stare for an hour and a half? Maybe you do. That's awesome.
That's fair.
But
I understand it.
I just felt bad. Anyway, so um,
Oh,
I wanted to
they're even dealers for it in Los Angeles. So you're
awesome,
yeah.
good stuff.
Hey, hey,
So
hey.
yeah, the Generation Dan started in the shadow of the pandemic, much like other good things in my life, like my wife, who I met in the pandemic.
My
Uh,
wife. Yeah.
yes, where Dino and I were doing Zoom shows, which, if
Yeah.
you don't remember, are comedy shows on Zoom, which in hindsight were fucking terrible. But back then, that was the only way to do stand up. We'll have
They
you
are
know.
still happening on Eargasm every once in a while, and they
Really.
are just as bad. Don't worry.
um, And I remember I have this bit where I talk about like uh my epilepsy being the only like condition where people try and get you to display symptoms, which caused Dino and Marco Torres and Ryan, the guy who runs Eargasm, and a bunch of other people to
Yeah.
then take out their phone flashlight and
Like
start trying to
let's be honest, the the
give me a
the
seizure.
insanity that all of us had a flashlight close by and then just immediately started going click, 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 right to the thing. You're like,
No.
what a bunches of pieces of shit. It was hilarious
Yeah.
because immediately he's like, doesn't work that way. Go fuck yourself. And you're like, ah, foiled again. It was great.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I remember talking to you afterward because like, sit and talk with people because there's
Yeah.
nothing else to do. And like, even though we disagree about stuff sometimes, I
Sure.
think that there was a sense of camaraderie. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah. And we wanted to do some sort of show together, so we like talked, and we didn't want to just be like two guys in separate rooms with microphones talking about nothing.
Which is exactly where we've ended up. But however,
kind of, but there's at the very least a like premise for the show.
yes,
Like
there is.
I can explain what the show is in a sentence to people.
Yes.
Like that's good.
Well, and that's the thing is we have difference of opinions, but we respect each other as human beings, right?
Yes.
And that's I feel like that's this is what I've never understood, and is I'm not sure that it's a very American thing. I think it's the world over, but it's like if we have different opinions, we can't be friends. And I'm like, that's stupid. I'm like, that is exactly what the problem is. I'm like, we can have. I think it's being able to have a respectful conversation with a difference of opinions and going, that's fine, but you get a time to share yours. I get a time to share mine. We both can grow by understanding each other's perspective because it may not be for me, but that doesn't make it bad. And me being more knowledgeable of something is beneficial. So generations.
Yeah.
Hey.
And like when it started, we got Nick. What is Nick's last name? I can't remember.
Fernandez.
Okay. Nick Fernandez as a Gen Z co-host because the original idea was Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z.
Yeah.
That's where the name Dan comes from. Dino, Atlas, Nick, right?
Yeah.
So like it's easier to Generation Da doesn't really make sense.
No.
It's not Russian or Irish. Yeah.
Hilariously
over there,
it has consistently blown up in our face having
yes,
young people here, which is the most consistent answer was generation ad. That means that might actually
Dino
be
comes first because he's the oldest. So like that was the
I'm
idea.
old and have seniority. Yeah, that's fine.
So after Nick had to leave because he didn't have the time, which is fine. So we were like, we need another Gen Z co-host, which is where we got
Caleb
Caleb McDuff, who you saw last week on our Gen Z Stare episode.
Correct.
He had to leave because he got a girlfriend and the girlfriend didn't like him doing the show, which is funny because she is one of the best guests we've ever had.
Yes.
And we should bring her back.
Absolutely.
And so after Caleb left, we're like, we need another Gen Z co-host, and then we got Cole Clayton, who is technically my age, but it's where the theory of the spectrum and the experience being your generation came from, because he is an oldest sibling with a bunch of younger siblings and younger parents, which pushes him more toward Gen Z. And I had old parents with an older sibling who pulled me closer to the center.
And I'm the youngest of 5 and got pushed negatively.
Yeah.
Because
So the same ideas. Yeah.
You get drawn through. It makes sense.
So then again, then Cole, I think it was mostly he and I had our differences because we were doing a show, like a history show, Last Minute History, which you might have seen on this same RSS feed for a while. And then there was that falling out, which Cole, I'm sorry.
No, you guys want to do different things, right? Is you want to talk about history and he wanted to make fun of history, and you're like, those are very opposing principles, right? Because one is just telling and the other one is let's not tell it. And you're going
well, like right? I thought he was just gonna riff off of what I was saying, which is fine. But so
it happens. It's fine.
Yeah, with Cole leaving, I was like, "Fuck this! We're not doing another Gen Z co-host." And then whatever guest we have to get for that week.
I like the idea of they're like sugar. You can have a little bit every once in a while, but you can't have it every day all the time. It gets a little bit overwhelming, and you're like, I want to kill you. And it's not. They're like kind of like that. But
I know, but like especially after becoming a teacher, I realized with 3 failed Gen Z co-hosts, you would think, well, okay, you're just like fuck Gen Z. I have a special like empathy for Gen Z because like y'all, whoever's listening, really got a shittier
Yeah.
hand than the millennials got, and we already got a shitty hand. Which
Correct.
is why when millennials make fun of Gen Z, I try and put the kibosh on that because it's like we got to stick together if we're gonna get a better life for ourselves. Because we got the dying days of the good times, and you guys got shit.
Yes.
So if anything, this is why like for my students where like I try and tell them you don't necessarily have to go to college as your life path, which is what we
Correct.
were told. Go to college,
Yeah.
everything's gonna be fine.
And
Go to trade school,
lies.
go to community college, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and
do something that you enjoy that is profitable. Like people are like, I want to become a lawyer. You're like, okay, being a lawyer is a fucking nightmare. Is it necessary? Maybe. But like if you don't have, a family of lawyers or cousins with like somebody who's involved in law already, is going to be a very, very difficult uphill battle. So you got to work around it. Same thing with medicine. You're going, yeah, that's a very difficult thing to just be like, I'm going to be a doctor. And everyone else is a farmer going, maybe a vet. Like that's it's when you can, there's nothing wrong with progressing, but if you have zero support system to do that, it's going to fall apart, right? So it's fair. There's so many other options.
yeah, Gen Alpha, I'm very scared for because that's coming down the pipeline in a few years. Like I believe on paper, Gen Z ends either this or next year for
Mm.
like kids going into high school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's be
So
honest. I'm afraid of them because they're the ones that are going to be in charge of whatever care home I end up as a
yeah.
sack of bones. And the way it seems is they're going to be like, well, if you can't walk, you get left behind, and I'm just going to be abandoned in some room forever.
Honestly,
It's
it's
fine.
the same. Like with this study of generations between like the ones we know and also the ones who are long dead, right?
Mhm.
Your greatest generation, your lost generation, silent generation, to realize that literally it's the same rhythms every generation. The kids today are fucked. They're the worst generation, and then they turn out fine because that's
Yeah.
just what it is. Even the boomers in their 20s were had some promise, right?
Yeah.
These were in their 20s and in the 70s, right? These were the people who were getting shot at Kent State and protesting against the Vietnam War.
Sure.
And I guess they just took the Faustian bargain of becoming yuppies, but that's its own thing.
Well, so
Um,
I have a theory with that, and I'm so glad that you brought it up, was the whole idea that there is no difference essentially because people be like, young people today be like, no, it's not your generation is stupid. You're just young and stupid. Because I remember being in my
exactly,
20s
yeah.
and being an idiot, right? There's not, that is, and you're going, yeah, with age, you get smarter and realize, oh, yeah, it sucks in your 20s. Why? Because you're an idiot. And you don't realize you're an idiot until you're in your 30s. And you're going, I was an idiot. I got to do a lot of work.
Old
And you're
people
going,
get
yeah,
young
that's,
people and the cycle continues. Yeah, like I saw there was like a news article where someone broke into a store and stole like a giant Labubu, those weird
mm,
rabbit things, and
mm,
sold it for a fuck ton of money. And people are like, "How could this happen? People today are so stupid." Do you remember Beanie Babies from the 90s? Same fucking shit, right?
yeah.
It's the same goddamn thing.
And if you
Uh,
like them, you're weird. There's no question there.
and that's fine. That's their thing, and that's cool. I think
Sure.
they freak me out, but like enjoy,
Listen,
I'm not yucking on their yum. Enjoy yourself, right?
be an
Uh,
adult and love Transformers. Like, come on. Just what are you
thank
doing?
you,
Okay. It's not,
Washington. If you're watching, you guys would
yeah.
be good friends.
Ta-da.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah,
It's I feel like this is the best part about this is getting to see a different perspective, which, like you said, hey, being young has its trials and tribulations, and then eventually you figure it out. As you get older, and then you're like, oh, I can do stuff, and you start doing stuff. It's as weird as that. It's
yeah.
and you know what? I wish that there was some sort of process or something that people could learn, but you're like, no, you just have to go live life. As soon as you stop living life, it starts to bog down on you. And that's
Mhm.
why it's like I was reading a thing where this guy was saying how like every month we go away for a day, every quarter we go away for a weekend, and every year we go on a trip. And that like those are very specific memories where you're like, yeah, we had that day like a big day activity. So
Okay.
right. So it's like, and then it was a weekend of camping or going to the lake or whatever it is. And then, we went on
Yeah.
vacation too. You're setting up very significant memories and a process where people get to look forward to things, but also like you have your daily life, which traditionally sucks. And that's fair. But then when you don't, you're like, well, those little peeks into what could be, right, gives you that little like Victoria and I take courses regularly. We do jewelry making, other stuff. It's been so much fun. Why? Just to learn. And also, I learned that I'm great at using fire. Victoria is terrified. I'm like, hey, no problem. It works. The
The
older I
older,
get, the less
what,
I
did you
care
take
about.
like a creme brulee class or something? Or the older I get, the less I care about nonsense.
It's
And
100%.
like,
I agree with you, Jen.
yeah, I bet when the like full like core Gen Alpha is in my classroom, it'll be fine. It'll just be
Yeah.
the rhythm of the day, and I'll understand kids less and less, and that's just kind of part of getting older. But I hope that I keep this point of view that I have right now, which is we're all just trying to live our life, and the
Yeah.
cultural weirdness of it all
Yeah.
is part of the rhythms that everybody goes through. And you know,
I actually think that you will have to learn a different way to communicate with that generation because you'll have different knowledge that needs to be communicated. Does that make any sense? You know what I mean? Like, so, because
yeah,
as you're closer, it's kind of like your communication language changes. Whereas
yeah,
when you separate generation wise, you have to learn how to get into them. Like for me, I'm like, I talk to young people and I'm like, I love it because I say stuff and there's like, is that real? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, but why? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. It just is.
I mean,
And they're like,
there have been times where you have to explain like the internet used to come in the mail and shit like that.
I
There's
I
other
like
things where like because nostalgia works on 20-year cycles, you have like them rediscovering something, and then there's the connection point that you can be like, when I was a kid, dot dot dot,
there's a
right?
clip from Futurama where they're talking about garbage and there's
Mhm.
like a giant mound of AOL CDs.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Is it
listen,
the big ball
that
of garbage that like
it's the
tries
big
to
ball of garbage. And like there's an entire section of just
uh,
AOL CDs. And I'm like, you got to understand this
yeah.
was a thing. You know, you would
Hell,
get
it
like
wasn't
seven.
even that.
Yeah.
Netflix used to come in the
Oh, yeah,
mail, and
absolutely.
went on for, I think it's still going on in some rural communities because,
Yes.
Spectrum doesn't wanna go that far, so they're just like,
Let's take another course. I mean, sure.
yeah,
I
I'm
am
so done
so
with
done with
nostalgia.
nostalgia. People beat it to death. Some people just cannot fucking
Okay,
leave it. Oh,
wait, I'm just gonna okay, the word "the Roaring Twenties" that
yes.
comes from a movie called The Roaring Twenties that was made in the '40s, and it's about a guy who comes home from World War One,
Yeah.
doesn't know what to do with himself, and becomes a bootlegger. And the when he comes home, there's like a girl who was writing him letters in the war for like a pen pal thing in her high school, and he's like, "Ew, a high schooler." And then as he sinks further and further into crime, she's on like a rising star thing where she becomes like a performer, like a flapper girl. And as he like falls further into life of crime, she is like, "Ew, gross. He's a
Criminal.
bootlegger."
Yeah.
And there's like kind of an incel undercurrent to it all. But that movie caused a big nostalgia wave for the 1920s, for people cutting their hair short, for being a bootlegger, to the point where there was originally going to be an adaptation for The Great Gatsby, and the Hays Code people were like, "Nope, we're not doing 1920s movies anymore. This is too much."
See.
And it's a great movie, but like nostalgia has always been a thing.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, and
Yeah,
also people glamorize things that aren't glamorous.
totally. Yeah.
So often where they're and especially as somebody who next week I'm turning 45, I'll tell you is that you
Congratulations.
look back and you go, oh yeah, I wish I did some things differently, but I could just do them now. And people are like, can you? And I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
Like I work out constantly. I'm losing weight. I'm trying to get in better shape. Okay. Like, should I
When
have
you
done it
stop
sooner?
moving, you stop
Probably.
moving.
Uh,
That's something you
that,
told me.
that is 100% accurate. And actually, now the more like I've started to sign on to principles, which I've heard about for so long. If you can do it in 5 minutes, just do it now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm
it's
an
a
old guy.
weird
I
concept, but I'm slowly trying to figure out.
to
My
younger
generation
people, I
boogie
don't
nights.
impose my views on him. Thank you, Jim. We got to get Jim back. My
Absolutely.
generation Boogie Nights will be our generation defining film. That's a great episode idea, right? Where we
Generate,
talk
yeah.
about like
Movies
generation
that define
defining.
generations. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm talking about Mean Girls. That's
That's fair.
yeah.
That's
I think
totally
this is a
reasonable.
good place to wrap it up. Thanks,
Uh,
y'all, for hanging out, talking with us. If you want to follow us on social media at Generation Dan, pretty easy to figure out. You can
mhm.
also follow me at Atlas Novack, wherever fine social medias are found. School is about to start, so get ready for more. The teacher sketches are coming back. Um, it's always funny, like during the summer, like they stop, and then I just do whatever it is I want to do, and then we start back up. Revenge of the Nerds was generation defining.
It's true.
Put a pin
Same
in
with
that.
Police Academy. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you are into the trading card game Card Fight Vanguard, I do a stream every Friday at Nexus at Night on YouTube is the name of the channel. We just had Devlin Cassidy, who is a big mover and shaker in that community because Bushiroad, the company that makes the game, did some dumb shit. So we were complaining. So go check that out every Friday. How about you, sir?
You're officially all getting old bag. We didn't like it, so we had to complain to somebody. That's fair. That is that. Welcome to your 30s.
Everybody's complaining. It
Yeah.
wasn't just us. Yeah.
Hey, but you had
Yeah.
no. I need to talk to somebody. I need a manager. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's coming. As you can see, I am at Dino the Genetic Marvel right here, everyone. I am posting a lot more since I've come back from vacation. I am renewed and I'm trying to do better. But also, I have shows regularly. I am cooking constantly. I'm gonna actually from here. I'm going for a little. I'm going outside to get some sun, and then I'm going to be cooking lunch. So that being
Nice.
said, you can follow me and I post things regularly on everywhere there's social media. And if not, hey, your whole life is a vacation. And that's right. I'm a good, wholesome house husband who's learning how to do things. That's it. I am taking care of the house, but also doing the construction stuff. That's fine. I'm
That
more.
that's me during the summer. I become a house husband. It's
Yeah,
great.
it is fantastic. I love it. But also still trying to make money. So feel free to like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Send me money. You can just send me stuff and I'll buy stuff with it and build it. Because
That's
I
where you put
have
the Cash App stuff in the
that's yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
ta-da! But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. And 200th episode completed. Come
Huzzah.
back for
See you next week.
2001 next week.
Bye, folks.